Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Kelvin coming at you. Salute to everybody. Hope y'all doing out there today. All right, let's talk about Kenyon Martin, Draymond Green, former number one draft pick, now basketball. I don't know what's his title, analyst, contributor, or whatever. Gilbert Arenas, Kenyon Martin. Then we have Draymond Green, current player with the Warriors, and he has his own podcast, and they've exchanged some words back and forth. So I'm just gonna show a quick recap, and then I will be back.
Okay, you haven't said a name that got a big
life.
name.
I'm talking about that was
Draymond on that list or nah?
Nah, that's a no.
That's a different.
I think what Draymond does is sometimes calculated. Draymond ain't did nothing to nobody who's gonna do something to him, do something back to him.
That's what I was talking about earlier.
That's the list I'm talking about.
That's all. He ain't did nothing to nobody who's gonna do something back to him. And I said it on our show. Ain't nobody hit Draymond in his shit yet.
Kenyon Martin was born in Saginaw, Michigan, born and raised in Saginaw. So the constant shots has been a little confusing to me because I don't quite know where they came from. And you'd think, someone that was a number one pick that didn't quite have the career that I've had, when you talk defensive player of the year or 9 all defensive teams that I have, and he has 0, 1 all-star? Make no mistake about it. You are an all-star. I'll give you that. A lot of people can't say they're an all-star, so I'll give you that. You're a one-time all-star. That's beautiful. But you must admit, to be the player that you were and defender that you believed you were and to not have, a single all-defensive second team, it's kind of an underachievement. Number one pick in the draft. A lot of people look for that guy to win Rookie of the Year. Didn't. All-rookie team, though. First team all-rookie. I can't say I made any all-rookie team, so kudos. I tip my hat to that. It started off promising. Lost in a couple NBA finals. He got to sniff it. Didn't quite get a taste, but got a little sniff of it. In 2000, playing for the Cincinnati Bearcats. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to see that championship through either. And my big brother, Martin Cleese, went and took that championship. So it's tough to sit in a space of continuing to speak on my name and call my name out as if I underachieved or am underachieving when I was just simply the 35th pick in the NBA draft and somebody took a swing on in the second round and it just happened to work out, to become one of the greatest players in our franchise history. It just happened to work out.
Draymond Green. Afternoon, sir. So you had the time, and I appreciate the acknowledgement. I really do. And it's about basketball, so we're gonna keep it hoop. Have taken it that I've been taking shots at you. Your words. Shots, not so much. Speaking facts, getting paid to give my opinion now. So my opinion matters. You stated that I was an underachiever, and let's get into that first. Underachieving. Not so much, brother. If what I got into it for was different than most people, then, but what I got into it for was to play 15 years. Check. Being drafted number 1, select few. Year 2, making it to the finals. Year 3, making it to the finals. Year 4, being an all-star. Being traded from that said team for three picks. Three first-round picks, sorry. Played in the toughest power forward era there could possibly be. Underachieving? Nah. Held my own? Yeah. You stated Kenyon was born and raised in Saginaw. Correction. Born in Saginaw. Oak Cliff made, brother. You talking about? And that word underachieving is thrown around too loosely. Right? It really is. And from someone who came into this thing to a bad team, year 2, make it to the finals, led said team in scoring. Can you say that? Don't think so, brother. Come back, do it again. Came up a little short, much better team. Played the Lakers, came up short. You say I got the sniff it? Yeah, I went a couple times. Lost to some really good teams. Nothing to be frowned upon. Year 2, year 3, 23-year-old young man making it to the finals, playing against a dynasty in the Lakers. Yeah, really good team. And you mentioned that I never defensive player of the years and all defensive teams and things of that nature. We all know those things are biased, brother. You know what I'm talking about? Very biased. But the guys that I had to guard, different. Night in, night out, different. Double figures for your career. You can't, that's your personal accolade. That's something that you're not doing or doing. Single digits across the board. You've helped, yes. You've been the ultimate glue guy. I am shocked and appalled that you don't have an Elmer's Glue sponsorship, bro. Because if you look it up in the dictionary, they should have your picture next to the Elmer's Glue thing, bro. Like glue Draymond. Yes, bro. Taking shots, you said. I mentioned on our show, the Gills Arena show, shout out to the crew, that I can name 200 people better at basketball than Draymond Green. I'm talking about basketball, skill set of basketball. I can name 200 people that I think are better at basketball than you. That's people. I dumbed it down to power forwards. Go down this. Should we go down this list?
Shoot you 50. 50 power forward.
50. So this is a list of. I was gonna cut it short, but then my basketball savantness, if that is a word, kicked in, and this is where we are. So let's go down this. So watch this. So we got Giannis, Anthony Davis, Dirk, Charles Barkley, Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, Dennis Rodman, Karl Malone, Chris Webber, Amari Stoudemire, Chris Bosh, Rasheed Wallace, Pau Gasol, Elton Brand, Antoine Jameson, Zach Randolph, Carlos Boozer, David West, Jermaine O'Neal, Sean Kemp, Derek Coleman, Clifford Robinson, Danny Manning, Larry Johnson, Vin Baker, LaMarcus Aldridge, Blake Griffin, Kevin Love, Sharif Abdul-Rahim, Al Jefferson, Drew Gooden, Josh Smith, Tim Thomas, Antoine Walker, Lamar Odom, Jason Williams, Horace Grant, Otis Thorpe, Paul Millsap, Juwan Howard, David Lee, Joe Smith, Al Harrington, Rashard Lewis, Brian Grant, Tom Chambers, Kevin McHale, Nene, and for shits and giggles, you ain't better than Popeye Jones, Bo Outlaw, Reggie Evans. And guess who I didn't mention? Me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is a quick recap of the back and forth. Kenyon Martin, silly man, talking about some Elmer's glue endorsement. And 50 power forwards, he said, is better than Draymond Green. 50? I don't know. There's a couple names at the bottom of the list. I don't know about that, Kenyon. Even though, I'm in agreement with y'all and with most people. Look, I don't like Draymond Green either. Draymond Green talk too much. He's a clown. He's dirty. He should have been ran up out the league. But, you got a soft Adam Silver. You got a soft Steve Kerr. And the ownership of the Warriors, they soft. So, they let him do what he go do. But we do have to give the dude some credit, whether we like it or not. Now, most of the things Kenyon Martin said, I am in agreement with him 100%. Draymond Green is no true enforcer. He's a fake tough guy in this soft era where there's no real bigs except Jokic and Sagoon, a couple guys, Embiid. Just got a bunch of young dudes in the league, small ball jacking a bunch of threes. So, like Kenyon Martin said, he can be calculated. And he know who we can mess with and who not gonna do nothing to him. You don't have to worry about, like the true enforcers of the past. You don't have to worry about those type of guys. Guys like Oakley, Mason. I know Patrick Ewing was a superstar, but he was a tough guy. The Davis boys, PJ Brown. Even going back in the day to like Marcus Johnson, guys like that was really true tough guys. Draymond Green got to worry about that. So he can go out there and kick, stomp, yell, and act the fool and got nothing to worry about. But I am in agreement with Kenyon Martin. He ain't built like that. But we do have to give the guy some credit. The guy is still a solid defensive player. Maybe not as great as he was. I ain't going to say great. Maybe not as really good as he was 5-6 years ago, but he still does make impactful plays. For instance, I'm going to show you this one play last year from the playoffs. Take a look at this.
Defended by Green for the lead. No! Ripping it off! Rebound inside! Whistle ball!
Okay, now, as you've seen there, that is a game-saving play. Those are the type of plays that win you games. Those are the type of plays that will win you championships. Those type of plays does not show up in the box sheet, or the box score, excuse me. Now, we understand that Draymond Green benefits playing with Steph Curry. We know Steph Curry is the number one guy. Since he hit superstar status, he has been the number one guy the whole time. And Draymond has benefited playing with him. Klay Thompson, one of the great streak shooters. A couple years with Kevin Durant, Iguodala. The list goes on and on and on. We understand that Draymond Green is a perfect fit for that team, for this era, and for that system. We get it. But even with that, we do have to give the guy some credit. He does make plays on the defensive end. That play you just saw there against the Houston Rockets, he only had 6 points that game. But if you make 2 or 3 of those plays a game, and then one at the end of the game to save the game, you know, those, even though it doesn't show up in the stat sheet, those plays count. And he do that a lot. I watched a lot of Warriors games the last 15 years or so, even before Draymond and them got there. I used to watch the Warriors a lot on League Pass. And so I watched a lot of late night West Coast games when ain't nobody watch. And I've seen Draymond make major contributions on the defensive end. So you have to give the guy some credit, you know, whether we like it or not. Put our feelings to the side, put our dislike to the side. We do have to give the guy some credit. You know, he's just not a complete bus rider, even though we know he's not the bus driver. We understand, we are very clear. Is he overrated some to a degree? Yes. To me, yes. But even with him being overrated to a degree, you do have to still give the guy some credit. Even coming from a second round pick, as Draymond said. That's very true. He wasn't a top draft pick. He was a second round pick. Wasn't highly thought of. And for him to carve out some kind of niche to have a productive career, you have to give the man some credit for that. Even with being a perfect fit in the perfect system and maybe not being as good with any other team. But he did carve out a role. You have to have some humility to play in that role. You know, not try to jack up a bunch of shots and know your skill set and be humble enough to do the dirty work. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to give Draymond Green some credit, even though he's not the driving force. You know, Steph Curry is. So you do have to give him some credit. Now, back to Kenyon Martin. While I do agree with most of the things he said, and he gave these 50 names, and I understand where he was coming from. He's just looking at individual skill set, not team accomplishments, not all-star teams and stuff like that. I understand where he's coming from when he made this list. And for the most part, I do agree with most of the names on this list. But there's a couple names I don't know about. For instance, to go through a couple of them. Tim Thomas. Tim Thomas was solid. Tim Thomas had a couple years. He was a good three-point shooter. I think most of his career he averaged between 10 to 14 points a game. He didn't really give you nothing else. Tim Thomas, depending on the team, I'd rather have Tim Thomas or Draymond Green. I think give me Draymond Green, man. Jason Williams. You know, you talking about Jason Williams from back in the 90s. He was a defensive guy, a good rebounder. He played with the New Jersey Nets. I did think he made the All-Star team one time, I believe. And his career got cut short. I think because he shot somebody. And I think he might have went to prison. I'm not sure about that, but I know his career was cut short. Jason Williams or Draymond Green? I'd rather have Draymond Green. Horace Grant. Horace Grant is tricky. Horace Grant, we know, is the third option with the Bulls. I liked Horace Grant. I was a Horace Grant fan. But depending on the era, let's just say in this era, the last 10 years, is Draymond Green a better fit as a third option, or is Horace Grant? Horace Grant or Draymond Green? Who's better in this era as a third option? I think Draymond Green is a better fit as a number 3 guy. Now, back in the 90s, you got centers and big power forwards. I think you'd rather have Horace Grant. But in the more current era, small ball, having to switch, Draymond can switch to play on the perimeter sometime and on the post. In this smaller era, I think I'd rather have Draymond Green over Horace Grant. I'm trying to be as fair as possible. And these last 3 names, Popeye Jones, Bo Outlaw, Reggie Evans, come on, man. I understand where Kenyon coming from. These are scrappy, dirty guys, do the dirty work. Popeye Jones was a double-double for 2 years. That's it with the Mavericks. Give me Draymond Green over him. Give me Draymond over Bo Outlaw. Draymond Green over Reggie Evans. Nene, I'm not sure. Some of the other names you had at the bottom, Tom Chambers and stuff like that. Yeah, those guys, Tom Chambers is super underrated. Much better than Draymond Green. Much better all-around player. But that's that. That's all I want to say, man. I get it. We all hate Draymond guts. Whatever negative things we have to say about him, I'm in agreement with you. But we have to be fair. Hey, man, you got to give Draymond some credit. Again, do I think dude should be Hall of Fame? I don't think so, man. But is he going to make it based on his accolades and stuff like that? Yeah. Oh, Kenyon Martin. Kenyon Martin said he was a better player. I do believe Kenyon Martin was a better player. Individual player. He could score better. He was a good defender. Kenyon Martin could guard on the perimeter also. He used to guard Kobe and other, small forwards and guards and stuff like that. Kenyon Martin, before the injury was a better player than Draymond Green. I'm sorry, man, And you have to respect Kenyon Martin because he did play in the toughest power forward era ever, the 2000s. And like he said, he held his own. Could Draymond Green hold his own against those power forwards in the 2000s? I don't know. I don't think so. I think he might be too small. But we got to give Draymond some credit. Even though, yes, perfect team, perfect fit, and Steph Curry is the driving force. And Draymond Green has been a great benefactor for playing with those guys. But that's that. I'm up out.